How's it going, everyone? Today we have a story of when truth or dare with a very questionable babysitter goes incredibly wrong. This story is absolutely insane. So sit back, relax, subscribe to the channel if you're new, leave a like on the video right now to claim your free nothing. And we're so back. Prime Connor Pugs is back, and let's just jump right back into this story. Anyways, we're going to call the subscriber who submitted the story Sam. Anyways, so this all happened actually when Sam was 18. You're probably thinking, pause, Connor, pause, what do you mean? He's 18 and he has a babysitter. Well, okay, this is basically how it went down. Sam, still in high school, living with his parents, right? And he got in a lot of trouble. Sam admitted to me that, he's not always the greatest, he's not always making the best decisions. He's not always 1,000 IQ guy who just knows what to do in every turn and every corner. You know what? He's allowed to make mistakes, man. He's allowed to live his life, right? Give him a little bit of a break. No, so basically Sam had been in a lot of trouble, and his parents are like, we literally can't trust you. We're going to leave. This was actually a very similar situation to a story that was submitted a couple weeks ago, and I told a couple days ago in the story and the channel. So that's why, but this is the oldest I've ever received. So Sam was pretty upset about this. He was on the phone with his buddy Ben, and he was just like, dude, this is insane. Why the hell do I have a babysitter? I'm actually 18. And Sam's like, dude, or Ben's like, dude, yeah, that kind of sucks. You can probably sneak out or whatever. And let me just be clear, this was because Sam's parents, they were leaving for just one night. So it was a Friday night, and it was, after school. And, at this point, Sam kind of thought that he was going to have the house to himself, maybe have his boy Ben over, maybe go out and do something fun. He knew that he was in trouble with his parents, but he didn't expect them to go kind of to the extent of calling an actual babysitter on him. So yeah, his mom is explaining this to him. He's like, dude, this is nuts. I'm actually 18. I'm technically an adult. Why? I do not need a babysitter. And, Sam's parents were like, hey, we can't trust you in the house alone. We have to go. You have two choices. Either you find a hotel to pay for, or you can stay here and do things normally. But we're going to hire a babysitter. We can't treat you. We can't trust you like an adult. We can't treat you like an adult. And as mad as Sam was, he kind of understood what was up. Basically the week before, or the weekend before, him and his buddies, this was they were bored. So they went into the middle of the woods. And this is honestly a mini story in itself. They decided to start a bonfire. It was a bonfire pit, so it was expected. They brought a couple drinks that were not allowed for those under 21 to be drinking. Anyway, some cops drove by just casually, and the forest was they could just tell that someone was there. They must have been bored that night, so they went in to check in a little bit. And that's when, they basically heard all the cops saying, hey, stop, who are you? Basically realizing that they're just a bunch of kids. Shouldn't have been there. They all ran away, scattered. Basically, some of Sam's friends got in trouble and actually got the police intervened. They have to do community service. It's a bad situation. Sam got away, but Sam's mother knew that he was with those kids that night, knew that the only reason that he didn't wasn't caught by the police was simply because of dumb luck, right? So she's like, dude, that could have been so bad that would have gone on your permanent record. You don't understand how big of a problem that is. I don't know if I can trust you at the house alone. I just need or he basically said you're in the doghouse for now until you can prove otherwise. And since that literally happened a week ago, and it's something where, she still needs time to cool off. She thought that the almost the humiliating punishment was to get a babysitter. Anyways, so sure enough, right, Sam's mom's like, nope, you're getting a babysitter. I already found someone on Facebook. We're leaving at 7, and she's going to come. She's going to watch over the house. Not even really, it was really just a house sitter. Wasn't really a babysitter at that point, because she's not okay, now we're going to play some games. Now I'm going to put you to bed at 7 o'clock, so don't be coming down the stairs or I'm going to call your mother. It wasn't a situation like that at all. It was more of a situation of just, hey, I need someone to look over the house. But I think Sam's mom called it a babysitter, almost to be more demeaning, which you might be thinking, the parents kind of going crazy here. I'm going to be honest, I kind of understand why Sam's mom is doing what she's doing. I'm sorry, Sam, right? Because, by the way, all these stories are subscriber-submitted stories. So go to my Instagram, Connor Pugs, and send me a message with your story if you want yours read on the channel. I obviously change a lot of details. I add a lot of details just to make sure your stories will never be tracked back to you, and I never use your name or anything there. But Sam, quote unquote, it's not his real name. Yep, sorry, buddy, if you're watching this. I think your mom's kind of in the right. She might be going a little OD with this, but she's kind of in the right. So anyways, right, Sam is just kind of a little bit annoyed, but he kind of gets it. So it's something where, right, he did something not so great, and now he's like, instead of being able to really hang out with his friends, because he was kind of hoping that like Ben could pull up and it wouldn't even just like do anything crazy. I mean, who knows? They weren't planning to do a drunken bonfire. It just happens, right? But they were like, he really did want a chill weekend, because Sam did say that whole thing did shake him up quite a bit. If he's being totally transparent and honest, he was shaken up by that. So he didn't really want to do anything crazy this weekend anyways. But now he can really even have a friend over, because his mom was also just like, no, like you can't hang out with people, at least for a little, like, I just can't trust you for the short term, right? Because, like, what if you get in that situation again? She was just trying to be productive. Anyways, so it was Friday, came back from school, and he kind of, like, sat down, was just, like, kind of waiting to hear what was going to happen, because his parents were going out to some event and staying over at a hotel for one night. But anyways, right, so eventually, his mom comes down and says, hey, like, I was talking to some parents on Facebook, and there's a girl in your grade, and he was willing to like babysit. And he's just like, bro. And in Sam's head, he's like, dude, this is low-key so embarrassing. Like, really, a girl that I know, everyone at school is going to be like, oh my God, I got a babysitter. But like, whatever, it's kind of fine. Anyways, so sure enough, right, he's like, fine, that's cool. And who is it? And she said, oh, it's this girl named Ava. And he's like, oh, okay, like, yeah, I kind of know her. And, Ava was some girl, like, there was, like, 1,000 kids in his grade. It was your standard public high school. He, like, kind of knew her. He looked at her up on Instagram. They didn't really follow each other, but he saw a lot of mutuals, and he, like, kind of recognized her face, whatever, and he's like, okay, that's fine. So sure enough, right, time goes on, and then eventually they hear a knock on the door. His parents already ordered pizza to the house. And anyways, this girl kind of walks in, Ava, obviously. She was, 5'2", had like blonde hair, very kind of like standard girl in his high school class or whatever. And so sure enough, she walks in. And it's like a little awkward at first with Sam, but he's trying to be cool about it, because he's like, oh man, like this is really, really embarrassing to some extent. And so his parents are like, hey, thanks so much for doing this on short notice. Like, all you got to do is just make sure, take care of the house, make sure no one really comes in. We're not letting any other visitors into the house, so if that happens, please let us know. And like Sam's mom looks at him with this look, and Sam's like, he's like, Mom, I'm just hanging out tonight. Don't worry about me. Like, this wasn't necessary. And she's like, well, I think this was necessary, but unless you want to get into it right now in front of our guest, then I'm just going to let it be. And Sam looks at her and is like, shoot, she's got me in a corner. Because no, I don't want to go over the fact that I'm in trouble with my mommy, and that's why I need a babysitter at age 18. Clearly, he's like, okay, whatever. So she's like, hey, so this is a house key. This is my phone number. Obviously, if, you can't reach me, this is someone in the neighborhood that I'm friends with who I confirmed will be here tonight. Obviously, if there's an emergency, call emergency services first. But also feel free to be proactive and over-communicate with me as opposed to under-communicate with me. I will not be upset if I receive a bunch of text messages, even if they're not very important, as opposed to not hearing anything if something is happening. And she's like, yes, of course, like Miss Sam's mom, or whatever's last name, just like totally get it. Like, yeah, this will be fine. And like, yeah, whatever. So sure enough, Sam's parents leave, and they look, as Sam's mom is looking at him, he's like, hey, I better not hear anything from Ava tonight, okay? He's like, Mom, like, I'm not doing anything. Like, what could I possibly want to do? So sure enough, right, they leave. There's pizza on the table. Seems like, hey, like, there's some pizza on the table. Like, I'm going to have a couple slices. TV room's over there. You can sit down. Like, Sam goes ahead and, like, shares the Wi-Fi password. And just, like, I don't know. At that point, they were both kind of just, like, both 18-year-olds in high school and just kind of chilling, be like, and she's like, yeah, like, I was kind of confused when I got like asked for babysitting. I was kind of assuming like you had a little brother or something. I didn't realize it was going to be you. And Sam's like, yeah, I'll be honest. I got in trouble recently. It's not great, but it is what it is. What are you going to do? And she's like, yeah, Like, I get that, like, sometimes my parents are pretty strict with stuff, but this is the first time this has happened. And Sam's like, yep, I know. So a little bit awkward there, but he's like, yeah. So he finishes up his pizza and he's like, oh, by the way, like, here's my contact information. I'm just going to hang out upstairs, but obviously you can come up and talk to me or anything if you need anything, or, text me if you can't reach me for some reason. I'm just going to be here tonight. Feel free just to watch TV. This kind of just seems like an easy win for you. Like, you get to sit here, watch TV, get paid on a Friday night. And she's like, okay, cool. So at this point, it seemed very standard, very normal. As awkward and kind of a little bit uncomfortable as this was, it really wasn't anything too crazy at this point. Huge emphasis on at this point. Anyway, so at this point, Sam goes upstairs, and this is his vision of the rest of the night. Pretty simple. He's going to go up, he's going to play on his Xbox, he's going to chill in his room. He already brought a couple slices of pizza up. He's going to call up his boy. It's actually going to be a fire night. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with, whipping out the Xbox, being on phone with your boys, having some pizza. Like, that genuinely sounds like a pretty good night. And after all the shenanigans that went down for Sam, only like one weekend ago, he's honestly not upset with this. He would have had a better time if, I don't know, Ben came over, and Sam and Ben could hang out in his house and, have a little bit more fun. But he's also not opposed to what's going on right now. Anyways, though, so everything kind of changes. So Sam didn't realize, or he didn't pick up on any weird vibes at first when, his babysitter Ava was there. He kind of found it was, I don't know, like she was, like a cool girl, whatever. Like, I guess like he said, yeah, she was like, somewhat attractive, but, he didn't think anything of it, right? He's just like, this is his night, it's gonna be over. And he's like, I don't know, he's in between games of Call of Duty. He's kind of hanging out, like he's on the phone with Ben. He gets a knock on the door and he's like, oh, Ben, like, let me call you right back. Anyways, he gets up, pauses his game, opens up the door, and he's like, hey, what's up? Like, is everything good? And she's like, yeah, everything's good. I was looking at the TV for a little bit. Like, that was nice and all, but, I wanted to know, like, she's like, yeah, I'm just, like, a little bored. And Sam in his head's like, that's not my job. Because he at this point, he's still thinking, like, yo, what? Like, okay, you're bored. In what way is this my issue, right? Like, in what way is this going to really, like, I don't, like, frankly, I don't really care. But he's also, like, he's not a massive pee-pee about it. So he's like, okay, yeah, what's up? Like, I'm just chilling right now. Like, I could help you find something on TV or whatever. She's like, yeah, how about you come and do that? And she has this like little smile on her face. And Sam, alarm bells are starting to go off in his mind. He's starting to get a little like ding, ding, ding. Like something is just a little bit up right now, if you're catching my drift. Something is a little askew. So at this point, anyways, Sam walks downstairs. Something is like, there's alarm bell is definitely going off. He's like, this is like starting, I don't know. He's like, something's up here. So anyways, she sits down on the couch. They basically have like this kind of like big couch. There's like a TV there. He also notices the TV like wasn't like, okay, maybe she turned it off or whatever, but like the remote was still in the basket. And he just thought it was pretty unlikely that she went into the basket to turn on the TV, like checked a bunch of channels out, turned it off, and then put the remote back in the basket. While that's totally possible, and I can't prove otherwise, I am going to say that it's pretty unlikely that she went all of her way to put it back. What Sam thinks is that she was just saying, oh, I was trying to look at some stuff on TV, and I just couldn't find anything, so blah, 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 that kind of stuff. She's probably just saying it. So anyways, because he also turns on the TV, and it turns on to the channel that he left it on, because he left it on the Sports Network or Fox or whatever, kind of like channel he's watching baseball at or something. And he's like, okay, she didn't even flip around the channels unless she flipped around the channels, flipped right back to the last channel I was on, and then put the TV remote back into the basket. So at this point, he was pretty certain she had not been watching TV. Sure enough, right? He's like, okay, like, what do you like to watch? And she's like, I don't know, like maybe put on something romantic or something funny or something, maybe a rom-com or something. And so he's like, okay. And he's kind of like, dude, why the hell am I doing this? Like, you're 18, bro. Like, I'm just not trying to do this, just kind of flipping around. And she's kind of like looking on her phone, tapping away, has this like little smile, whatever. Like, Sam is like in the back of his head, he's like, is my freaking like babysitter like low key flirting with me right now? Like, this is insane. But then he thought, like, wait a minute, like, we're both in the same class and we're both alone in my parents' house. I'm like, and then he like took a pause and he's like, wait, my mom did not think this through at all. She basically, after saying, you're in trouble, so I'm going to call up a relatively attractive girl who is your age in your class to stay the night with you at our house alone, where we completely say that's a good thing. So at first Sam's like, wait a minute. Like, I might be missing something here, but okay, I'm just going to see how this plays. You know, at the end of the day, Sam doesn't hate a good adventure, right? He was single at the time. He got dumped by his long-term girlfriend of 2 years, 3 months ago. So, or of 2 years, 3 months ago, not 2 years and 3 months. So he took the first couple weeks, like really took it to heart, and then was kind of like, okay, whatever. I'm just going to live my life. But yeah, he was like, okay, like because he also was playing a very careful game where he's like, I'm not going to make him, like, in no way am I ever going to make a move here, because if my mom gets a text from the babysitter saying, your son is trying to make a move, like, she is going to flip out and I'm going to be somehow in even more trouble. So I got to play this game really carefully, but like, I don't know. So Sam is like texting Ben and he's like, yo, like, this is kind of crazy, but I think like my babysitter's into me. And Ben's like, bro, like, be careful, bro. Like, she might just be like, doing her job, and that's why she's paying attention to you and responding. He's like, no, dude, you're not here. You don't get it. You don't get the vibes. Yeah, so Ben didn't get it, but Sam was like, something is up here. So anyways, she's like, he's flipping around, and he's like, okay, yeah, I'll try to find something rom-com, or I'll try to find something funny like that. And he eventually finds like a movie and just like puts it on. And he's like, all right, like, is this cool? And she's like, yeah, that's cool. Like, do you want to watch a little bit with me? And he can't be at this point like, no, I have some Call of Duty to play. I mean, he could say whatever he wants. Like, her job is not, or like, it's not his job to babysit her, right? It's the other way around. But he's also not interested in seeing what's going on, right? He's not interested, if that makes sense. So yeah, he's like, okay. He's like, yeah, sure, whatever. So he sits down like on this couch. Like, he leaves a decent amount of space between the two of them. And I think this is just like him being courteous or whatever. Like, because remember, he's being very, 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 very careful not to make a first move, not to do anything like that. And so sure enough, he sits down. And as soon as he sits down, she like very intentionally like scoots closer to him. And he's like, okay. Yeah, so sure enough, right, very intentionally scoots closer to him. He's a little bit like, okay, that's interesting, but, good to know, but whatever. And so sure enough, right, she's kind of like, looking at the TV, whatever, kind of like on her phone a bit, and he like catches a really, really quick glimpse of her phone. And he thinks he sees something. He's not convinced 100% sure that he sees what he thinks he sees, but essentially what he thinks that he sees in a text conversation with her and presumably her friend or something is like basically her saying like, oh, like, I was like basically like asked to like babysit this kid. He's in my grade. Like, this is kind of funny. And then, the friend's like, haha, like, that's crazy. Like, what's that like? And she's like, IDK, he's low-key cute, ... So he thinks he sees this, but he doesn't he gets a really, really, really quick glimpse of what he's seeing. He doesn't see anything like much more, because she's like, she's not like showing him the text messages or whatever. And so they're sitting there, whatever, they're kind of watching. He's a bit on his phone. And like, he's trying to like hide his phone from her a bit, because Ben is like blowing up his line, like, wait, yo, like, what do you mean? And she's into you, like, dude, this is crazy. Like, you should make a move. Like, you guys should get married. Like, kind of trolling him a little bit. But yeah, sure enough, he's kind of just sitting there. And she's eventually is like, I like this movie, but like, let's play a game. And he's like, she's like, yeah, okay, let's play something fun. How about truth or dare? And he's like, oh no. He's like, yeah, sure. Do you want to go first? She's like, yeah. And he's like, truth or dare? And she's like, dare. And like looks at him and gives this like look. And he's like, and she's like, yeah. Kind of like basically setting him up for a slam dunk. But you have to remember, Sam has to play extremely defensively here. He's going to absolutely, like, he's terrified of a blunder, right? He's trying to play this, like, he's not trying to be aggressive. He's not aggressive, but I'm thinking, like, he's not trying to be making moves. He's not trying to overextend himself. He's really trying to be like, I'm going to make a very defensive move and have a very solid position the way that I'm playing this. Because, like, she's over at my house, like, she's babysitting me. She's here. She can't leave, right? Like, it's not like I have a time crunch. I have to make my feelings known or something. And also, like, I have a huge risk if I blunder. Like, I'm in so much trouble. It's going to be so awkward. If I misread anything, because for all he knows, Sam's like, for all I know, I've just been deluding myself the whole time. Yeah, so for all he knows, he's just been deluding himself. But he's, like, trying to play very positionally, be very careful. So he's like, I dare you. And he just says some like very standard truth or dare thing. I can't think of anything at the moment. Sam didn't specify. He just said like he didn't do anything crazy. He didn't say anything crazy. But she almost had this like slight look of disappointment. She went off and like did the dare. Like it was pretty dumb. It was pretty lame. Anyways, she comes back and she sits next to him. But this time she like sits on the couch even intentionally like closer. And she's like wearing like sweatpants, whatever, and sits down, you know, right next to her, much closer, and is like, so like, all right, it's your turn. Do you want truth or dare? And when she sits down, it's like she's basically like touching at this point. So he's kind of like, okay, yeah, I guess I can do dare. And at this point, he's like, okay, that's going to like give the most opportunity for her to do something crazy or ask me to do something crazy. Like if I did truth, that's almost like too conservative because like, what am I really going to say? Like, I think we just play around. But he's like, once again, I'm not making any moves here. Like, this is just plain as it is. So sure enough, right, this is where things really take the turn. And she basically makes it extremely clear. Real quick, if you made it this far into the video, I want you to comment lamp down below because I'm looking at a lamp right now. I love seeing the names and faces of people who made it this far into the video. It really does help me out. I really just like seeing who's supporting the channel. We're getting back to the prime Connor Pugs, baby. Let's go. And if you want to support the channel more, the best thing you can do is if you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and leave a like on the video. And if you're on Spotify, make sure that you are following the podcast and have rated it 5 stars. And really, beyond all of that, the best thing that you can do is just watch the channel. Just by watching the channel, every minute you watch is helpful. So with that being said, let's just get right back to it. So the truth or dare, right? Sam says dare, and she's like, okay, like yeah, she just goes for it. She just goes right all in, and she's like, I dare you to take off your shirt. And at this point, in Sam's head, he's like, whoa, that was very forward, right? Like, that was definitely something. And he's like, she's like, it's truth or dare. Like, are you really going to break the rules? He's like, nah, like, I'm not going to break the rules. And so he does that. And he's just like, okay, this is getting kind of nuts. And so he's like, okay, truth or dare. And she's like, dare. And he's like, okay, well, then you take off your shirt. I mean, he thought this was an equal thing. Like, if you say one thing and she looked at him, she like pretends to be all shocked. And in the moment, he's so nervous that like, for all he knows, she is actually shocked. She's like, you just asked like your babysitter to take off her shirt? Like, I'm going to have to tell your mom about that. He's like, no, I mean, and he's like, and she's like, just kidding. And he's like, it's the rules of truth or dare. What can I say? Okay, so I'm not going to go into the details on the rest. I'm going to make a lot of allusions to what may or may not have transpired. So look, Yeah. Yeah. No, you're probably jumping to the right conclusions. At this point, they made it very clear. It was very clear what the intentions were. And yeah. So I'm just going to like leave a lot out. You guys can probably figure it out. Anyways, later in the night, so they actually end up having like a long conversation, whatever, after whatever transpires, right? They actually talk a lot and they have a lot in common. It's really fun, whatever. But they also kind of have this conversation of like, yeah, we probably shouldn't see each other after this, at least not for a while, because like, I don't know, like if it's gonna be bad looks going back to your parents, my parents, and yeah, they're just like, yeah, this was cool, and Sam was like a little bit like disappointed because he was like, oh, this girl's actually really cool, a really good experience with her, all that kind of stuff, and but yeah, things were not. It was genuinely like a fun kind of like he could have asked for something better, and that's when, anyways, they get a knock on the door. Yes, this story is not over quite yet. So they're both still hanging out on the couch, or they don't hear a knock on the door. They hear footsteps to the door. Because why would they need a door? The mom has the keys. And that's where they both panic. Because, yeah, just for context, they're both just hanging out on the couch, whatever. Not everyone's clothes are on entirely at this point. And yeah, so Sam's like, shoot, like, I think that's my mom. I don't know why she's back early. And sure enough, like the babysitter looks at her phone, which she had put down for a while. She got a text 45 minutes ago from the mom saying, hey, the event got canceled. We're coming back early. Feel free, like we'll be back at like 10:30. And sure enough, it was like 10:29. And the good thing about the layout of their house was that like the TV room was tucked away, right? You had to walk through the door, which then you go through the kitchen, you go down a hallway, and then around a corner is the TV room. So the door opens up and the mom's like, hey guys, like, I'm back. Like, I can't believe the event got canceled. She's like walking in, getting her stuff off. They are scrambling. And sure enough, Sam's like, all right, hey mom, what's up? And he yells that as he's like, they're putting on everything. Like they eventually get all their clothes on, kind of like button up, whatever, makes it look good. Change, like take a blanket, throw it somewhere else, whatever. And sure enough, like the mom walks in, she's like, oh, you guys are hanging out down here. He's like, yeah, like, I got bored, like my babysitter, like she's, we're in the same grade. We were just talking about stuff, just watching TV. And sure enough, the TV was on, but it was like muted. She's like, oh, you're watching it muted. He's like, oh yeah, we just like got into a good convo. So we just turned that down. And for 1 second, Sam's mom looks at him and then looks at her and then looks at him with this look. And Sam, for a second, his heart rate goes up through the roof, is like, oh shoot, like I might've just gotten caught. Like, did she just, like, is she catching on to this? Like, is she picking up what I'm putting down, essentially? And she's like, cool, okay. Well, Ava, it was great that you're here. But, I'm still going to pay you for overnight if you're going to be here overnight. But because you did this time, it's almost like, hey, I'm coming back early. Doesn't mean you're not going to get paid because I asked you to take your night, but feel free to leave. And she's like, all right, well, it was cool. Like, Sam, it's nice to meet you. And maybe I'll see you walking in the halls or we'll have a class together some year. And sure enough, Ava gets up and leaves. And Sam is about to go up to his room. And his mom's like, Sam? And he's like, damn it. He's like, no. Like, I am so close to leaving. I'm just a few steps away. Can I please get up and leave? And he's like, yeah, what's up? And she's like, did you have a good time? He's like, yeah, it was cool. Like, she was more cool than I thought. Like, I originally thought I was just going to hang out upstairs, but we had some good conversations. She's like, good conversations? He's like, what? She's like, no, nothing. Just good conversations. He's like, yeah, no, she was cool. I didn't know her before, but, since we go to the same school, I've seen her once or twice. And I don't know. She's cool, Mom. And his mom's like, okay, you think you're going to see her again? Sam's like, okay, Mom, like, come on now. Like, she was cool, but like, nah, probably not. And she's like, okay. She's like, I thought I gave you a little layup there, but whatever. And Sam was in his head like, what? My mom was in on this? She wasn't actually in on this. The mom was kind of joking around. Sam realized on further reflection, she was probably just joshing. But she was like, hey, like, I appreciate you not doing anything too crazy tonight. And back of Sam's mind, he's like, uh-huh. She's like, yeah, I appreciate you not doing anything too crazy. Yeah, I mean, you're free, if you want to go and hang out with your friends, like, I'm cool with it. Just please make better choices. Obviously, if you do something stupid again, punishment's going to be 10x what it was this time. But I don't know. It seems like you proved to me that, you can be responsible. And Sam in the back of his head's like, well,